I am learning how to junk journal, and I really think it's my newest favorite thing to do. So I'm going to show you what I did. This is a junk journal. This is my cover. It's made with sewing and gluing and all kinds of junk, but not just junk. That's one myth about junk journaling. It's not just junk. I'm going to show you my junk journal first. This is some fabric. The idea is that you're supposed to make little spots so that you can journal. Have not done the journaling yet. That's a journal spot. My little cluster. And my rubber stamps. These are all things that I purchased. This I had a long time ago. And I kept it because I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So I finally found something to do with it. But I didn't I needed more than just that. So let me go through and show you the journal first. This is called a little pocket. This is something that I purchased lace on. So each page is going to possibly have some kind of significance to you as you're making it. I made this myself a long time ago. I was planning on making a scarf, and then I didn't end up making the scarf, but I kept those. So, rubber stamps. This is some gluing. My little rubber stamp birdies. And then this is sewn by hand. And has a little spot. And then it's distressed on purpose around the edge. There's a little spot. This is glued down to make a pocket. So you can take it out and look at it. And then you can sometimes have like little, they're called sentiments. There's a whole vocabulary for junk journaling. When you put something with words, it's called a sentiment. This is a flip pocket with a cute little birdie. And these are tags that I made. This is my little journaling spot. This came from my garden. So I glued that on, and then I wrote this verse from the Bible. Isaiah 48. Paper clips are used sometimes. This was really cool. This is a 1-cent stamp postcard. This is representative of hearts of gold. Maybe it could be my husband and me. This is my favorite. A little rose. Always like a little rose. Just another little. You do whatever you want when you're doing this. That's the fun part. You just, more is more. More is good. Sometimes less is more for some people, but in junk journaling, more is more. Like, look at this. Like, that's just a nickel roll. But with junk journaling, anything kind of goes. It just makes it cute. It's on a paper clip, so you can journal under there. You can journal on the backs of these papers too. This is a cute little pocket that I embellished with a cutout. My granddaughter did this one, and this one, and this wallpaper. This is a little bird, and then this is supposed to be just like a little bird's nest on this really pretty paper that I love. And this is a chandelier cut out from like a Victorian book, and I love chandeliers, so that's the significance for me. And then my last page is my favorite. This is a pocket made with an envelope, and this is a dream that I had about my 2 children that are in heaven. And I wrote the dream down, and then I typed it up, and then I glued it on this little pocket. So if you want to show your journal to somebody, it really has a real special sentiment in there when you do a dream. And I think that I'd like to include one of these pockets in most of my journals. And you know, when you look back, you don't always remember dreams, but if you look back in your journal, it's in writing, then it comes right back to you. So that's my journal with my hands, not hand stitching, this is sewing machine stitching, and it's bound. And I watched a lot of videos, and when I first started, I said, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be so fun. I loved it. But then I didn't know where to go. I did not know where to begin, because there's so many things that you can do, and that seems so easy. So what I decided was it's better to make some things for the journal, get them done ahead of time, and then you can kind of plan for your journal after that. It doesn't start off like this. It starts off like this, and it starts off in a huge mess on the desk or wherever you're working, the table. And it can get overwhelming. This is a piece of paper from newspaper from 1969. Perfect thing for a journal. Old yarn that I had left over from a project. This came in a package of something. I kept that. And I bought these that I'm going to likely make copies of, and maybe someday open an Etsy shop, and if I can figure out how to do digital copies and set that up. This I had for another project. So the idea is to not get overwhelmed, is to start with a color theme. This little bucket right here is also helpful, because to have everything all at once and then put everything away so that you don't have everything all over the place like this on your desk or table, and then you don't know what to do. There's just too many. For me, it's too overwhelming. So I decided to get these little plastic containers and start there with collecting what I want in my journal by choosing a color theme first, and then what I do is I pick things that have that color in it, and then I'll throw it in the bucket and may or may not use it. Another trick when you're journaling, starting off, is I bought these big books from one of the stores, and I cut out, it's called fussy cutting, same term in quilting. I cut out these cameras, and they will be good for like a little cluster when you want to lay things on top of, you want to take a tag and you want to put one of them on the bottom. Like for example, this little rose right here could be cut out, and then that could go under it, or you could just leave it the way it is. You tear it and put it under it. But the key is to prepare a little box of things that ahead of time. The fussy cutting, inking is another thing. You ink the edges with some ink that I don't have a sample right now because I'm trying to keep it quiet, so I'm filming outside so my dog doesn't get in the video like he's trying to do. But you tear pages and then you ink around the edges, and some people in my family said, oh, you burned the edges? Because that's what it's made to look like really distressed and old. So what I would do for this is I would take one of the tags that I made, and it'd be the right side. This is another thing too. See, this is what happens. The ideas go pop, pop, pop all the time. The Happy Peaceful Life. I just cut that out of a magazine. I could maybe lay this, say if I was a photographer, I would lay that in the cross there, and I'd glue that, and maybe I might glue this on a tag that's already been inked, and depending on your style, there's your tag. You could put a piece of lace underneath That's what this is for. See that cute little bow? This is something that I purchased at an antique shop. I'll keep that little bow and I'll use that. But you could take like if I can get the end of this, I think it's sewn in, so I'm not going to tear it because I don't want to tear at this lace. But you could take your lace, put it underneath the tag, and then put that over the tag, and you could either staple that or you could glue it down. Glue, that's another problem that I had. I couldn't find the right glue. I already had this one, Fabri-Tac, which seems to do pretty well. But when I used the glue that I saw in some of the videos, the PVA glue was diluted with water. It kind of takes the, show you right here, it takes the inking and it kind of turns it a yellowish. If I can find the page. And I don't know if I diluted it too much, but if I could get to the page, it would be nice. Oh, here, well, here you can kind of see that's like yellowish instead of brown, because the distressed ink that I purchased was called Distressed Ink, and it's the coffee one. That was another thing I didn't know which color to purchase, and I found out later on you purchase vintage photo, I think it's called. But there's so many things to collect before I even started. And sometimes with a lot of the journalers, because I think they've been doing it so long, they kind of make it sound like it's so simple and easy. But I think there's a lot of preparation you have to do before you can even start the journal. And I think sometimes people unintentionally leave that out of their videos. Maybe it's because they want you to subscribe and like their videos. And it reminds me, though, of when I go to a fabric store, because I'm a sewer too, and I purchase all these fabrics because I love the colors, and then I bring them all home, and then they sit on the shelf. They're not going to make themselves into something. But when I see them, I have all these ideas and inspirations, and then I get home, I have to prepare them. I have to cut them into pieces and do what I need to do in order to create a project with them, whether it's sewing or even using it on this. So I think, I guess for most people it goes without saying, but for someone who's just starting, there's a lot of prep work that you have to do in order to get a journal started. And for me, organizing in my brain too what to do to even start to prep, I started finally with making a box of, I tore up a bunch of papers, I sat down and tore a bunch of papers, and I started inking them. So they're ready to go. They're all different sizes. Then I made some tags, inked those up. I cut some pieces of colors, just colors out of magazines, out of some books that I purchased. I cut those out and I got them so that they're, almost ready to go. And at least it got me started thinking. Then I went to the next step, and I took manila envelopes, and I just got on the sewing machine and just used some of the designs that I have on there, different stitches, and I just started putting things together. This is going to be a pocket somewhere. I just started clustering things together. Here's another one. This is a combination of lace and paper, and this is a quilt that I made, but I just took a photocopy of it so that way I didn't have to cut the fabric up and put it in the journal that way. And I just sewed this on the manila envelope, and this is ready to go into a journal. Now, these two things right here, just having these done inspires me to do more preparation. Now, I found these in a book that I had, and I cut them and I inked them, and so that's ready to go into a page. And that's half of the battle, is getting the prep work done. And I kind of liken it to sewing, because you have to do your, in order to be, you don't have to be a master seamstress in order to sew, but you do have to be organized. You have to have your pattern, your fabric, your thread, your scissors, and then you have to know, when you read a pattern, how to cut which pattern out and how to read the pattern. And for photojournaling, junk journaling, the part that was missing for me was doing the organizing ahead of time. So I'm still not there 100% yet. I just started. But I feel a little more confident now that I finished this. So this took me a week to make. Now, for some people, and I need to put a ribbon maybe to close it if I want to. It's my journal. I can do what I want. Some people don't like their edges hanging over to the side. I like mine puffy and chunky because it makes me feel like there's a lot in there to get to and to look at, and there's probably a lot of information that's in there that could be help stimulate my memory to good times. And so it's how you want it. So after watching a lot of really good junk journalers, oh my goodness, there's so many that are just over the top. There's some perfectionists, there's some people that just are kind of like me. There's some in there that I said, wow, I think like that person. I ended up with this, and I want to get more organized, and I have one today that I want to start, and I'm having trouble. It's already like afternoon time, and I haven't even started. And last night I thought, today I'm going to work on it. I'm not going to get anything else in the way of me getting started. And I've already I've got a beef barley stew cooking. I've watched a few videos, and I got off on a different track, and I just get so distracted, and I find that I do that kind of stuff when I don't know which direction to take. So I go in circles. So I'm going to go back to the beginning of what I just had suggested to you, and that is to either make some more of these for prep work, and then just pick out a pile of these, put them in my bucket. Like this is good, that's going to go in my bucket. I love pink. And this is my bucket of likening it again to sewing, going to the store, picking out all my fabrics, and now it's all ready in a pile. Now I have to start cutting them out and getting them the ideas going, because I don't have a pattern. I found though, for people that are creative, once you get going, the ideas just kind of pop like that. You just keep, you know, this is a piece of wool that was just floating around in one of my boxes from wool felting, you know, and it turned into a little ball. For me, that's really cute. And the ideas, I would even probably even put a little pearl in the middle of that. But you'll get going, and the ideas will come to you. You just have to get going. You know, another thing I just thought of, I'm looking at this, I could take one of these buttons, I could cut it out, and then I could glue it right in the middle of that. So there you go. Start your journal, and I hope you liked my journal, and I hope I inspired you, because so this is the pile of things that I got from the estate sale. Look at this. It's already got, we try to ink the edges to make it look authentic. This is already authentic. And here's some really nice old fabrics that it was actually my friend's mother's things, and I remember some things that she did that her mom did. She made her a coat of many colors with this fabric. See, I love the, see, now what I'll do is I'll just look for the pink, spot the pink and the blue, and a piece of this is going to go into that book laying on the floor. And it's just got nice black and white pictures that will go somewhere as soon as that her mom made. I want to see if I can make digital prints out of this. So, and this was just laying on the floor too. It's a newspaper from, let's see what the date is. And these little taggy things, a lot of people will put these. Let's see what this is. It looks like it's something that maybe when she went to France. For those junk journalers out there, this is like a gold mine. It's somebody else's junk that I'm going to turn into something special. First I thought it was pet recipes. I thought it was dog food or something. But it's this milk, pet milk. That's what it's called, in a can. And before I even caught any of these, I just want to look through some of them because some of them are really helpful. Some of them are pretty comical. Really long recipes. But see this pretty pink on the side? That will be really nice to put in my journal. There you have it. I hope you start loving junk journaling like me, or maybe admire some. I'm going to start doing a lot of videos on them because I really love it. So thanks again for watching. Bye.